Hey, welcome to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball Report. I am Mark Williams, and like always, we're joined by Shane Laflin and Jason Key. And we've had a pretty busy 2 weeks. And we're going to catch up this past weekend. The Wootten camp was in Mansfield and was a fantastic weekend. Loaded talent on both sides of it. And we're going to talk some about that this weekend. But before we really talk about that, we need to talk about the weekend before. And it was a full weekend. We had a coaching clinic. The Wootten coaching clinic was in town. We had Project and Perfect camp, seeing young kids. We had an Exposure Plus camp for high school kids. We had 3-on-3. Our first 3-on-3 event was a resounding success. And so we're going to recap that weekend before we get to Camp Wootten. And Jason, you took a lead on the Exposure Plus camp, the Project Perfect camp, and the 3-on-3. How did the weekend go?
Hey, first of all, it was busy and a little hectic, but really well. I thought we got a lot accomplished. Great energy in the gym. As always, young kids, which has always kind of been a specialty of mine. Went really well and got the gym cooking early on Saturday. High school kids, we had a couple Cedar Hill kids in particular that had shootouts later that day and came and played as long as they could before they went and joined their high school team. So shout out to all involved for helping us there, and went really well. I thought they got a lot from it. I thought all of us getting on the floor and interacting, and all the coaches that helped, that it was a huge success overall. And we're going to get into it a little bit more, but the 3-on-3 I thought was a huge success. Thought it was the perfect size for us to figure out exactly how we want to format it and do things. Personally, I found out 5 games in 4 hours of 3-on-3 and 15-minute running clock. That doesn't sound like too much. Right. That's bordering on exhaustion. So that's something you learn as you watch. And Shane didn't want to hear it. He's like, "Man, they're kids. What are you talking about?" But
they were having fun. I think
yeah.
Exhausted is a stretch, but
the legs
they were tired. They were tired.
Yeah.
But they played hard though.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and you touch the ball so much, you have to defend in space. All the principles of 3-on-3, and then you add the element of having the international rules and such, that the FIBA rules, that you have to think quick as well, because it's just constant movement. There's no checking and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of strategy that comes into play. I thought us having the kids, when you weren't playing, keep score and having to yell it out to the parents that were watching that, and it keeps you engaged because you had to pay attention and you learn things doing that. So I thought the overall the weekend was a huge success.
Absolutely. And Shane, you were working and back and forth between the events we had there and going back and forth to the coaches clinic and back and forth. Share a little bit about the coaches clinic and how that went for that weekend.
Oh, it was really good. I mean, first of all, it was cool to be able to go see the Wootten Dallas clinic over there. And then the host at Mansfield High School with Coach Brooke Britton and her staff, including one of her assistants that catered the hospitality room. And I was able to just grab a snack a couple times of it wasn't even when it was served, and it was amazing. I had half a cinnamon roll because they were like, "You got to try these little cinnamon rolls." All right, I'll try it. Amazing. She had this shrimp and chicken pasta. Amazing. She did this, I don't know what it was, a quiche or something Sunday morning. Amazing. It's crazy. So, and then obviously seeing a bunch of coaches there, high school coaches, club coaches that came through, I think some small college coaches, and then the presenters that came through, and then the actual demonstrators that came through clutch after we had a little bit of a curveball in that. But the coaches that came through that did a great job. My brain's a little fried, so let me go find the flyer. I know it. I just want to make sure I don't leave anybody out, because I don't want to make anybody feel left out. I'm trying to go find the flyer real fast. All right, so we had
looking for that. We got
Coach Jenny Baranczyk from Oklahoma, Nikki Collin from Baylor, Krista Gerler from Texas Tech, Julie Goodenough from Abilene Christian, Reagan Peebly, TCU, Toyle Wilson, SMU, and then Joe Wootten presented as well. And I was able to be at pieces of all of them. Gonna follow up and get the video so I can study it, because it killed me not to be like being a note-taking nerd in the corner. Like, I wanted to be there and interact. But we had some, events to attend to. So amazing. But yeah, I'm waiting for that video. I'm going to dive into that hopefully sometime in late October or November.
Absolutely. And really the big heroes of that event is the, I think it was a 5th grade, 6th grade girls team. They're out of Mansfield, who came in clutch to be the players on the court. And so big shout out to them for coming in clutch and saving the day for us. So, but also great. And it was a great weekend because there was learning going on with the coaches, and then you had players playing and evaluations happening. And so, let's go back to the 3-on-3 and the camps. What players stood out to y'all that weekend that you got to see?
Yeah, first of all, in the high school, the one-on-one champ, Kaylin Hill, one of the Cedar Hill kids that I spoke about, really jumped on my radar. Mom played at North Texas. I found out later, but she's really good defender. I actually heard her basket went to overtime in one-on-one, and we made it first one to get a stop wins, because neither one would get. They had trouble there for a second. She came up with the stop, and that kind of became what defined her as the camp went on. So things like that happen where, for whatever reason, I haven't seen a lot of that kid, even though it's a local kid and all that, and she's a junior, so there's still time. And I found her, and then the more I watched her, it helped me understand who she is as a player and what level and that kind of thing. And so there's really is at our exposure camp, there really are possibilities that you don't realize just because you're under a microscope with the amount of players that are there. Reagan Jackson at Kennedale. She's pretty well known here locally, but she was really good, really vocal, always won the first in line. You see the leadership come out of her. She's never not played hard. It's not in her. I don't think that's allowed in that house. So you saw the motor and the skill, and she's really good. She's a really good player.
Yeah, high energy kid. When we did the initial fundamental full court shooting drill that you like, Jay. She was on our bucket, and it took me about 3 trips to know like what 3 kids I wanted to put, to demonstrate to do it right.
Right.
And it was her and Ashna Tambe from Hockaday that plays with Texas Elite, and then oh my gosh, the Austin High kid. Hang on.
Yep.
Played for AD Elite. Help me out, Jay. I'm tripping right now. My brain is fried. I'm
gonna throw one to you. Yeah. Everybody understand we've seen a lot of kids over the last couple of weeks.
And I know exactly who I know who it is. My brain is fried.
Another name I want to throw out there too is Kellis Grant, who I understand had jumped, got a couple of offers off some word of mouth stuff. Had a couple of college coaches call me on her personally and kind of confirm what they thought they saw this summer. And she's another Cedar Hill kid, actually. And both of those kids went on to their high school team afterwards. But Kellis Grant had a really good camp. And so played for Texas Elite 16U this year. It's those things you never know. It's one of those you never know who's watching type thing or what comes of it. And so from that, I hope kids really, really understand that you take every rep seriously. We talked a lot about it at the camp and all that, because there's people everywhere. And this basketball family of ours, circle of ours, is small. And we all talk to each other. And so it's awesome to see opportunities come from that. In the 3-on-3, I don't have the junior high division was awesome just because it was so competitive, and you could see kids figuring it out as we go. Go ahead.
Kima Shaw. I've known her since she was in like the 5th grade. Kima Shaw.
There it is.
Golly.
And and I've known, that's all my fault too, Kenna, because I've known you forever too. So Kenna Shaw, very skilled.
Kima Shaw.
Been around, been on the circuit forever. Like we've seen her forever too. Back to the 3-on-3. The Griffin girls, you could tell they had worked a lot on 3-on-3 versus some of the other 7th and 8th grade teams that were figuring it out. So they had, they were actually running some actions and slipping some screens and that kind of thing. And man, it's pretty to watch when you have a young team figure it out like they did. They were really good.
Yeah, they were fun to just watch. The 3-on-3 thing was interesting because we got a chance to teach and run them through some actions as we explain some of the different rules. Like, because they come in probably thinking about checking the ball at different times or how they've played 3-on-3. So we try to input the FIBA rules, just without the shot clock, and showing them some actions and then showing some things that they would ultimately have to make decisions defensively. So it was a lot of fun. I think I used that group to demonstrate. So everybody kept saying like, oh, they have an advantage, blah. And I'm like, everybody watched the demonstration, and then the team I used to demonstrate defensively, I think I got them going a little too fast because I tripped up the one Texas Elite kid one time. But we were switching a screen, Mark. You got to be intense.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I thought she was coming with me and we were moving at a different pace. So sorry about that. I was getting intense, but so that was cool. But then watching them get better over the time. And then one main thing was like, they didn't outlet the ball early. So they grab it, dribble it out. And then as time progressed, I was harping on everybody, but finally they started outletting the ball and it got them into actions quicker. And then they started moving it quick and it just got competitive, man. Like it was just, high level, mid-level, whatever, as long as it's competitive and they're diving on the floor and D'ing up and possessions matter to them, that's fun for me.
Right.
And so, that was the coolest part. I think the team that I liked watching improve the most was the Fort Worth Hornets. I just thought they improved the quickest in finding out their niche of how they were going to win. Like they beat teams because they were really good defensively, but offensively it was kind of tough for them. And they started realizing, hey, if we move this thing and space this thing, they can't stay in front of us. And then it was the extra pass. Then it was the open shot. And they got in a real rhythm and they started playing to their strengths of each other. I feel like they learned a lot that weekend about each other and about how to adjust like as the game progresses. So that part was really cool, watching the young ones. And then Jay, the one team that we had fill in on Sunday, the Fairfax team.
Yeah.
With some young kids. I think they were all, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were all 27s, right?
Correct.
Zoe Osby, Genesis, is it Schemberg, I believe, Lala Jones, and then Jesse Moses, who was one of my favorite kids.
He was a hooper, for sure.
The most impressive thing outside of maybe Justine Passat's performance and Kaylin Gilbert's performance at Wootten overall was Jesse Moses getting baseline to baseline as a 7th grader in 3 dribbles, both right-handed and left-handed. 3 bounces, layup. I thought about that the other day as I finally got a chance to break down the players from the camp, because I hadn't done that because I went straight to meetings and blah 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 after 3-on-3. I broke it down. I was like thinking about the 2 weekends and like thinking about when we got on this thing to talk, and that's right. It's right up there for me. It was impressive.
Yeah. And when we had her in the drill, when we had her show, it just showed some kids went from 7 to 5 trying to get to Jesse's 3, right? So, but everybody reduced trying to do what we showed could be done.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, it's a really good point. So I was just like, hey, show them how you push it out in front. Because I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure I would do it right now, or at least at that moment, like after the weekend, right? Like, so she did it, and they were like, oh, okay, we can push it out. We can do it. It's one of those things that when you have an idea introduced to you, you realize that you can get out of your comfort zone a little bit, because you're right. The rest of them cut at least 1 dribble after that.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool.
Right.
Awesome.
So we got in about 30 minutes of work as what, Jay? We got there at 8, like 7:55.
Yeah.
On Sunday, and they were already there. And I was like, all right, well then let's work.
Get some work. Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
I thought one that stood out for me
too.
in the same sense is Kennedy Hall, who I'd seen in 5-on-5 scenarios quite a bit. In 3-on-3, her skill really showed itself because of the spacing. and just what a tough cover she is with the inside outside game.
She has good feet. She
yeah.
understands, like, she doesn't just go over the left shoulder all the time. She knows where to feel you. That's very rare for a lot of bigs, but a young big.
Yeah. So really good there. And then we had 2 teams in the high school division that were really good. So you had Three's Company, which first of all is a great name.
Yeah.
So that caught our attention because of the name. Amari Biles, who most people in Dallas will know, she's a really good young 26 kid that most people know. JC, I don't want to butcher this last name, but Abi
Something.
Yeah, one of the 2. We got to get that right so we know moving forward 26. But I knew her from the Lady Jets. She had an excellent weekend. I mean, she's super athletic, pretty skilled, shot it pretty well. Again, 3-on-3 shows you a lot of things that in 5-on-5 you don't catch all of because of the spacing piece. Aaliyah Green, who we had come in from, was looking for a team in Missouri, and they were Three's Company was looking for one more. So a classic
Kansas.
meet at the park pickup.
Nice.
And then Selena Carrasco, really good. She played for Lady Jets, really good guard. So they were really good. They seemed to be on a collision course the whole time with our champions, the Gooden twins. Oh, they were Pro Skills Oklahoma was the name. Yeah. So the Gooden twins, they jumped out at me as to who they were, but Pro Skills Oklahoma, they were the best 2 teams, it felt like, for most of it, and a very competitive bracket. But you had the Gooden twins with Erica, and Camille Williams was on that team, who's a very good 2025 out of Saginaw here in Dallas. And then Corey Sanders, who out of Oklahoma really jumped out at me, just shot maker deluxe, hit a ton of big shots, and they ended up Pro Skills ended up winning it in a very competitive game with Three's Company. So we had a really competitive championship, and it was a lot of fun. I think
until the last minute, I waited to go to the airport.
And I had a lot of feedback. I was actually looking for some negative feedback, and I couldn't get it, especially from parents. They loved how much their kids touched the ball, the responsibility of it. They had to sub for themselves. That became, they got better and better with that as the weekend went on. As like, you're figuring out the earlier I sub in that 15-minute run at clock, the better off we are on the back end. Right.
And they got more assertive about, remember, we made them like we had rules to communicate, like, you got to high five.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, the referee's not going to call you dead ball. They give you a second. You go and you pick. Like, there's no time.
Yeah. There's no waiting. The clock doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So that was really good. I've had a ton of feedback of when's the next one for the young ones. So it's coming. I'm working on dates now, and we'll be doing it a couple of these this winter. So I'll get those dates out as soon as I can. But it obviously was a big hit.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, and I can't tell you how many conversations we've been in just between us 3, but even other people, just like the role that 3-on-3 can play developmentally for every player who plays it. And there's so many positives to it. And so excited to hear that event went really well.
I want to say one more thing. 15 years ago, Mark came up with this in Rockwall. We were running a mini 3-on-3 league. And I remember people being real skeptical and all that. And once I watched it then, that was my first time thinking of it in this kind of format. Once I watched it live then, I was like, man, this is a hit. And we went on to premiere. Yeah, we went on to premiere, so it kind of got shelved for the time being. And it's finally back. So I think I'm gonna name this thing the Mark Williams Classic.
Man, I'm not dead yet, so you gotta wait till you go.
No, man, give you your flowers while you're alive, bud.
You know, a few of the other Project and Perfect Camp kids, Paldo twins, Peyton Doolin. It was fun to have them going up against Janiyah Williams.
Janiyah Williams is a beast.
Yeah, she rebounds so well. You mentioned Kennedy Hall, Quinn Van Sickle, whose sister's at Washington as a freshman. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun. Kia Prestridge, that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Out of Oklahoma. We mentioned mentioned Osby, and then Moses, Lala, Jasmine Bailey from Mansfield, right there in Mansfield. And
Yep.
Josephine Pinnock is a little feisty thing, jumped into 3-on-3, filled in for an older team, and made
Yeah.
some of the early 3-on-3 extra passes nobody was making. Her
Mm.
mom's a coach, so it doesn't surprise you, right out of New York
Right.
City. But like, I was like, man, this is gonna be tough for her. She gets in, she's like, oop, I know what to do with that, and sucked up a defender, extra pass, bucket. I'm
Mm.
like, first touch. So
No
I'll
doubt.
never forget that. It was cool. Just got a little quiet confidence about her, and then once they grow up, they're gonna be little hoopers.
And man, are the Paldo twins skilled.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
extremely. No, it was fun. It was fun doing the transition drill with them, challenging them a little bit.
Yep.
Really, that was really fun for me to be on the floor. I missed that. And
Yeah.
it was good, like, to get after them and hold them accountable. The shooting drill that you had them do, Jay, with the 3-on-3 contest, making them rebound, 2 hands, move your feet. I think I told somebody, think with your feet first, and they didn't really
Yep.
know what that meant. I'm trying to get them to go get at their highest point. And like, you could just tell they wanted to be challenged.
Mm.
And I tweeted something earlier or after on Sunday, or maybe it was Monday, like, these kids want to be challenged. Anybody who tells me they're not coachable, I didn't experience that at all the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then if you act right and they respect you and you know what you're doing, they are really begging for more. Like, they love it. And
Yep.
you just have to be consistent. They're not going to pick it up right away. They shouldn't. They don't have
Right.
your experience. But my problem is, I think people get frustrated because they're trying to teach something. They don't know how to teach it because they don't have the experience. So then they get emotional, which is unacceptable.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And one last thing on the 3-point shooting contest, to win their bucket, I believe it was Mia. So if it was Maya, my apologies, but I believe it was Mia Paldo, and it was Janiyah Williams, and they went into overtime, and it was cutthroat. So it was you make one, the other misses one, you win. And they
Yeah.
both made 8 in a row. Like, we
Ooh.
couldn't get them to miss. So back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They took turns and they would not miss.
Yeah.
And so Janiyah finally gave in. But man, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like a great weekend, and it was a lot of learning, a lot of playing, a lot of players and evaluations. And so, man, for everybody who supported the Project and Perfect camp, supported the Exposure Plus camp, the 3-on-3. Big thank you to the coaches who came out and attended the coaches clinic, the Wootten coaches clinic, and the presenters. Man, we appreciate y'all taking time and just helping everybody learn. And as a community, all of us getting better at our craft. And we expect it from the players, but we got to lead by example and do it in ourselves. So, man, we appreciate everybody being a part of that fantastic weekend. And so